So this could have been stained glass window unions or anything that developed into what we've got today.
That's right, the carpenters or the wheelwrights or the difference with the Masons was that they were very, very popular anyway, because they built these cathedrals and these churches. They built these houses of God, if you like.
Now that opens up another question, because you know, modern Freemasonry, of course, there are a few sides to it. There's the political side and the you know, let's have a drink, pal side, and get me off of that parking fine.
That parking fine.
And then there's the other side, which is like the esoteric side, where people are kind of drawn to that side because they want to know a bit more, and they think that there's a secret to living and to the universe and to the divine, or the grand architect or great architect or whatever you want to call it. So there's that two sides, as one Freemason always said to me, is the political side and the esoteric. But you know, you're going back to that period there, where in what you call modern Freemasonry, the start of that, where they're really into the Temple of Solomon, they're really into, you know, sacred geometry, etc. But back to the original stonemasons that you're talking about, who were the ones building the cathedrals and had been for an awful long time, and had got that knowledge from somewhere, crusades, etc., etc. They were using sacred geometry, obviously, to build those buildings.
That's right.
We can go and measure that now and say this is in the divine proportions of Vitruvian man on the ground.
Chester Cathedral or wherever, or
So they had a kind of sacred knowledge already. Is that why they were so popular?
That's probably why, because they were building these divine buildings, the houses of God, basically. Sacred buildings, and one of the reasons why in the Civil War, the English Civil War in particular, that they kind of like became really popular was because they had still had these rules basically where when they opened a lodge, it was a sacred space. So and you weren't allowed to talk about politics or religion, as you still aren't today. You know, so hence you get these two big figures coming in. This Elisha Ashmole royalist, Henry Mainwaring parliamentarian.
Can you see why conspiracy theorists jump all over this stuff?
Oh, yeah.
You can also see...
rife for...
Yeah, it's rife.
Rich pickings for...
You've got the American Civil War going off, for instance, and you've got battles being fought, ordinary people being killed left, right and centre, and then the officers going off into a mobile lodge from both sides, deciding on the outlaw, maybe
the outcome of the
battle next day. You can see why people jump at conspiracies.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's conspiracies.
There
has to be.
I think anywhere where there's potential secrecy, there's conspiracies, or a conspiracy theory, or a...
Unelected officials deciding our future. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean...
You're a Freemason, is that right?
Oh, no. I mean, one of the things with Freemasonry, when it started off, was that it was democratic. And then suddenly, when it was first founded, the Premier Modern Lodge in 1717, I say modern as well because in 1751 there was an Ancients Grand Lodge that offshot.
Which they spelt wrong.
Yeah, that's right, with a T instead of the C. And at the very beginning, for the first 3 or 4 years, it was elected Grand Masters, drawn from the actual, lodge members, Grand Lodge members. Desaguliers himself was a Grand Master for a year, and 2 other Grand Masters were, basically drawn from the common men. There was a guy called Anthony Payne, who was a bookshop owner,
but then it changed.
It changed.
And the Royals came
Anthony
back.
Sayer, I should say.
Sayer, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
The Royals came back.
The Royals, all the aristocracy were
invited
back in, and you get the Duke of Montague and the Duke of Wharton, all being invited in and being Grand Masters. And you see this influx of the aristocracy, and then you see the royal family joining. There was Frederick the Prince of Wales joined, and you get this influx of the aristocracy and the royalty, and the democracy from Freemasonry seems to have been basically put on the side somewhere.
There's power battles going off there, isn't
there? Yeah. So you can see where the conspiracy theorists can say, oh, you know, there's something a bit missing there.
I don't think it's too big a leap, personally.
Yeah. This is it. Yeah. For people that aren't Freemasons, it's like, oh yeah, you know.
That's dodgy.
Yeah.
But getting back to the point, the early stonemasons were building sacred geometry into those buildings. They had to get that knowledge from somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, it's assumed by a lot of historians that I know that they got a lot of that mathematics on building the arch and all those other things from the period of the Crusades, when we were over there.
Yeah.
Now you can see why pseudo-historians or, you know, Templar historians point to Templars.
Yeah.
Because obviously, you know, ever since the demise of the Templars, there's been stories about them.
Oh, yeah.
And they were supposed to have got this so-called secret from below the Temple of Solomon. Can you see why that's the case?
Yeah,
it kind of makes sense.
The thing with the Templars, you see, is that they're a very romantic, historical bunch of people. Well, bunch of men, really. These warriors with the red cross and escorting people to the Holy Land.
And their brothers were the Cistercians. Yeah. And they were the ones that were highly responsible for an awful lot of the building projects that were going off in Europe post-Crusades.
Yeah, I mean, you get this kind of... I can see where people kind of say, oh, well, you know, they could have influenced them and secret society going on in the medieval times. And then, of course, you get this kind of Holy Grail aspect to it as well.
Yeah.
Where, you know, the Templars have discovered some secret...
Yeah.
And
the little kiddies of Jesus and Mary.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, you know, so... It can go either way, you see.
Yeah.
When you start looking at the Templars, there's such a great historical group of knights, you know, that they create this romance and you know, so you can develop these romantic views quite easily.
But there's no actual hard evidence. It is purely supposition.
That's right. I mean, the Holy Grail, that's a story that will probably be with us forever. You know, it's a story that was linked to older sources. You know, Celtic sources even. Yeah. And it's been adopted by different people for different things, you know. So, so the Templars I mean, they're a great kind of historical bunch of people to write on because they're so romantic. And, you know, it's boys' own stuff.
Enigmatic
basically.
because the evidence is thin.
Basically, yeah.
Now, one of the things that's in your book, just to let's get a little bit more modern then, and let's ignore the Templars now, because we've covered the Templars, is a man that I've always been fascinated by, and a lot of people will be, because, you know, he's been involved in a lot of different secret societies, or implicated in things like the Rosicrucians, etc. John Dee.
Oh, John Dee.
John Dee.
John Dee, yeah.
Fascinating character. We've got about half a minute left. But, you know, just introduce John Dee to people and we'll talk a bit more.
Well, John Dee was a magician, basically. He was searching for lost knowledge in the Tudor period, really, the late Tudor period. And he claims to have found it. So,
found what?
The lost knowledge.
Oh, so after the break, what we'll be doing is talking to the author of Genesis of Freemasonry, David Harrison, on the lost knowledge that Dr John Dee, and Dr John Dee, I mean, he was a magician, but he was also, you know, he had a great library, he worked for the Queen. Necromancer.
Alchemist.
Dr John Dee, obviously had his friend Edward Kelly, and, you know, the guy who could contact the dead for him, and all this necromancy, and it's claimed that he raised the dead, and various other things, and it's also claimed that he was a spy for Queen Elizabeth. Yeah.
Again, he's an excellent historical figure that's just... the romance that he can attract is unbelievable, you know, because he did so much. And he survived with it as well, you know, and this is in a period where, especially when King James came to the throne in 1603, where witches started to be persecuted, and he was still there doing his magic, and
he had too many things on too many people.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
But why is John Dee involved in a book on the origins of Freemasonry?
Well, John Dee was. You mentioned about Edward Kelly. and raising the dead, you're probably familiar with this, they supposedly raised a dead person from St Leonard's churchyard in Welton-le-Dale, near Preston.
Yes.
And this was supposedly a successful raising. It's been